Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears. Thank you for joining me today. In today's video, I'm going to be making two mini slimline cards. These are some winter cards using this brand new mini slimline stencil from Simon Says Stamp. This stencil is part of Simon Says Stamp's and Back Again release. It was just released in January 2022. So here's what it looks like. It is a mini slimline stencil. It's called the Mini Slimline Snowflake Window. It does measure 4 by 7 inches, and I'm going to be making two cards. I'm going to start out by doing some ink blending. I have some Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I did cut it down. I'll tell you the measurements in just a minute, but first I want you to look at the stencil and notice there's this rectangular line going across the inside of the stencil frame. I'm actually going to be aligning that rectangle line up with my cardstock, and then I will add that stencil to the cardstock. So I did cut down my cardstock to measure 6¼ by 3⅛. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here on my mat. I'm just going to tape it down. And I'm going to bring in some pixie spray. You need to use an adhesive like this because otherwise, if you don't, you're going to have trouble adding ink to those snowflakes. I actually tried this without using the pixie spray, and I noticed that the snowflakes, they actually would come up and it would be hard to get the brush over top of them. So using the pixie spray, it puts an adhesive over the back. It's just a little tacky. It's not going to ruin your stencil, but it'll allow you to press it down on your cardstock, and it actually will stick those snowflakes right onto that cardstock so that you don't have to worry about those coming up when you do your ink blending. For this first background, I'm going to use 3 different Distress Oxide ink colors. I'm using the Blueprint Sketch there in the top right hand corner, and I am going to speed this up just a little bit to get through the ink blending. And once I apply that Blueprint Sketch, I'm going to come in with Wilted Violet. And the Wilted Violet, I just have a mini cube, so I'm going to pull that one out and then just add the Wilted Violet right there along the edge of the Blueprint Sketch, and just make sure that those two colors do blend together. So you want to go ahead and add your ink and then blend them together. And then the next color I'm going to add is the Picked Raspberry, and I love this color combination with the pink, purple, and blue. I think it is absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that Picked Raspberry to the rest of that white area, come back over with the Wilted Violet, and then back over with the Picked Raspberry. So next I put some white acrylic paint on my mat. I did add some water to it so it's not so thick, and then I just mixed the paint up with some water, and I'm just flicking the paint onto my background with a paintbrush. I want you to notice that I left my stencil in place. It's actually going to serve as a mask for the snowflakes and the edge of that cardstock so that I don't get paint splatters on the actual snowflakes and I don't get them on the edge of the cardstock layer. So it's okay if you get paint on that stencil. It'll come right off when you clean it with some water. So now I'm going to create a second background. I've already cleaned my stencil off, so now I'm going to add some pixie spray and add it to my cardstock. Again, this is Bristol Smooth cardstock cut to 6¼ by 3⅛. And then I will add the magnets there just to hold that stencil in place. And this time I'm going to be using the Carved Pumpkin Distress Oxide ink. And I'm only going to be using 2 inks on this particular card. So I laid my orange down, and now I'm coming in with the Picked Raspberry. I really love this color pink. I think it's so pretty. And I'm going to go ahead and add that Picked Raspberry to the rest of that white area on my card, making sure that I do blend it together with that orange and then just cover up any of the white area. So next I'm going to take my water in my distress sprayer and just spray some water on the top of that. I'm going to take a paper towel and just put the paper towel on top of that cardstock and press down, and it will pull some of the ink up and just create little splotches there on the cardstock for a great effect. Here's the magic reveal. You can see how pretty those snowflakes look and all of those Distress Oxide ink colors. You can also see the white border that that stencil gives around that cardstock. So I'm going to bring in a stamp set from Sunny Studio. This is the Feeling Frosty stamp set. There's so many really cute snowmen in this set. But I'm only going to be using the one snowman that you see here, and I'm going to color it up with my Copic markers. So I went ahead and stamped this out onto some Spectrum Noir cardstock with my Memento Tuxedo black ink. And I took my C4, which is my darkest gray, and just put a layer of the dark gray along the edge of the snowman. Now I'm coming in with my C2, and I just go over that C4 and extend it a little bit outward. And now I'm doing the same thing with the C0. And I always like to color my snowmen with a little bit of a gray shading. I don't color the whole snowman because I want to leave most of it white. I just put some gray shading on the edges just to give him a little bit of a shadow so it looks like he has a little bit more dimension. And then I'll come in with my colorless blender and I'll just blend those out to the center of the snowman. Now I'm going to work on the hat, and I'm coming in with my R85, just putting a little bit of the dark, which is the R85, on the edges of that hat, and I'm going every other line. So I'm going to have pink and orange as the different color stripes on the snowman hat. Then I come in with the 83 and just extend that color more towards the middle, and then I'll come in with the R81 and then just color the entire line up. And then I'm going to come in with my orange colors, and I'm going to do the same thing by applying the YR16, which is my darkest orange, just along the edges of the remaining lines. And then I'm going to come in with the YR14 and extend that a little bit more towards the center. And then I'll come in with the YR12, which is my lightest orange, and just color the rest of that line up. So I did that with the hat, and I'm going to do the same thing with the scarf using the same colors and giving the scarf a striped look. Only this time I'm just applying a line of ink along the right side of each one of those rectangles from dark, medium, all the way to light. And I'm going to do that with both the pinks and the oranges. So I want to stick with the same color scheme that I have for the background. So the snowman is going to be pink and orange as well as the background. And then for the nose, I have the YR16 and the YR14, and followed by the YR12. So again, the same exact colors that I used for the other oranges. And then I'm going to color up the buttons in pink. And I'm also going to color up that little pom-pom at the tip of the hat in pink. When I finish coloring, I will die cut this out with the coordinating dies. And then I also stamped out a sentiment that says a frosty hello. I did fussy cut that sentiment with my scissors. I'm just going to put that sentiment down at the bottom and then add the snowman right above it. And then I'm going to take some silver gems from my stash, and I'm going to add them to the centers of the snowflakes. I think this will add a really nice sparkle to this card. And I'm going to go ahead and make my own card base. So I'm taking a piece of cardstock that is 8.5 by 11, and I'm just going to cut it down to measure 6 1/4 inches by 6 1/4 inches. And then I'm going to place that in my scoreboard and score it at 3 1/8 inch. Doesn't matter which side you score it on because they're both the same size. And then I'll just fold at that score and press that down really well. Next, I'll add that entire card front to the card base. And notice, because you have that white border along the edge, you don't even need an extra piece of cardstock to go underneath it. Just pop that on the card base and then your card is complete. So now I'm going to finish up the second card, and I'm going to pull out the Missing You stamp set. This is from the Simon Says Stamps Hibiscus Bloom set. And I'm going to go ahead and line that up where I want it. And once I have it in place, I'm going to stamp that down in some black ink. So next, I'm going to take this particular layer and I am going to trim off all of the white area. So once you have stenciled it out, you can definitely trim off all of the white area and then just use the small piece there for your card. When you do trim it off, that ends up being 5 3/4 inches by 2 and roughly 11/16 inch. So now I'm going to just add some of these gems once again to the center of my snowflakes. And then I will add that to a white layer that's 2 7/8 by 6, and then I'll add that to a purple card base. And that completes that card. So I just want to show you that you can actually take that stencil and you can create a card that is both a landscape and portrait. So that is a pretty versatile stencil, and it makes such beautiful snowflakes for such a quick and easy card that you can either use with a cute stamp such as a snowman, or you can just add a sentiment for an even quicker card. So if you're interested in any of these products, take a look down in the description box and I will have links to all of the products that I used in this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and thanks so much for watching everyone, and have a great day. Bye bye.